Where does the metaphysics stand with respect to thousands of years of philosophical knowledge?
In the sense of um, the notion of a perennial philosophy. I think of the metaphysics as being when I say the metaphysics, I'm thinking about my immanent domain metaphysics, the IDM metaphysics, or sometimes it's abbreviated as the IM metaphysics. I, capital M, so immanent modality essentially is what that stands for. But the notion here is that um, the sort of conceptual model of the axioms and the modalities as a deep clarification of the same sorts of things that have been described or discovered or been talked about for lots of works that have been going back for thousands of years. I don't see those as disjunct. I see those as essentially as being exemplars of this underlying pattern. And so, in one sense, there's a freshness to it in the sense that there's a notion of re-expression of ideas that have been held a long time, but there is an increase in clarity because I think that to some extent, although we could say yes, it's just the perennial philosophy re-expressed in modern language, I think that the level of reification that is being achieved in this particular sense benefits from all that we have learned about psychology and anthropology and sociology that weren't necessarily specific studies of focus for ancient peoples. I think that the technology and science in particular have added a tremendous amount of insight and the theory of mathematics, complexity theory, information theory, some elements of quantum mechanics and things like that have added a tremendous amount of richness to this underlying model, so that we gain a lot more clarity, a lot more insight into these topics than we've ever had before. And when I say we, I'm talking, humanity. But in my case, having worked very closely with these things for quite some time, I feel that the level of depth of insight that is now available to us allows us to solve much more difficult problems at much more broad scales than we as humanity have ever been able to do before. And there's a certain timeliness to that. It's essentially, if we're going to have the capacity of deities, things that can create and destroy whole worlds, then to some extent we need to be that clear about the ethics. We need to have a way of conceptualizing of these tools and move beyond just the sense of what we can do to what we should do, and to be able to ground the shouldness of that in something that is far more solid than just a religious opinion or just an intuition. That intuition be backed by a kind of intellectual process. Um, that the intuition and the intellect can blend smoothly to create something which is a field of knowing, which is altogether different than that which could be achieved by either of them by themselves. So in this sense, there's a deepening here that I think is both timely and relevant, and that to some extent it's not so much that I'm playing catch up to ancient traditions so much as I'm clarifying their deepest essence.